almost 40 pitches. Like, what Yamamoto did is historic. It is a legendary performance on the biggest stage of this game. It is. That will go.
And not to mention, in Game 3, he got loose and he was hot.
Yeah, like, who is this guy?
That's after pitching Game 2, so he gets hot. He was hot in the pen.
Through, but just commanded and, had a lead, so we were behind. So, when you're strike throwing as well as he is with the stuff that he has, makes it tough.
The quality of the off speed. This guy's split looks like a heater. Comes out of the same tunnel, it looks exactly the same. He's got an impeccable delivery, so he doesn't miss a lot. And the ball shows up as a heater, bang, goes down. And his heater shows up as a heater and then rises. So it's pretty impressive.
これらは味方として、そして幾度となく対戦してきた敵将として、山本由伸投手に贈られた言葉です。2023年オフ。12年3億2500万ドルという歴史的契約でドジャース入りした山本投手。その実力は本物なのか。移籍前から半信半疑だった声を、彼は登板を重ねるごとに黙らせていきました。そして今回ご紹介するのは、ヤンキースのアーロン・ブーン監督、ブルワーズのパット・マーフィー監督、ブルージェイズのジョン・シュナイダー監督、そして自軍のドジャース、デーブ・ロバーツ監督という、山本投手と幾度も向き合ってきた4人の指揮官たちの証言をまとめた翻訳動画です。移籍決定前の2023年から伝説となった2025年ワールドシリーズ、そして2026年の現在まで、彼らの言葉から見えてくる規格外の投手の実像とは。それでは早速日本語字幕でご覧ください。まずはヤンキースのアーロン・ブーン監督。移籍前の交渉段階から実際に3度にわたり山本投手と対戦してきた指揮官です。まだ山本投手の移籍先が決まっていない時期の会見からご覧ください。
Yeah, I think he probably would, yeah.
Do you plan to meet him? Have you met him? Could you give me some?
I've met him once before in the past, actually. And I do plan on meeting him again, yes. It's hard to find a 25-year-old, is that what he's 25? 25-year-old pitcher that's as decorated as he is and has had the level of success he's had at this point in his career over there and on the world stage in the WBC. Our reports are that this guy's really good, as I think the industry sees it the same way, and it feels like there's going to be a lot of suitors for him. But I feel quite confident that he's going to come over here and be a really special top of the rotation type pitcher. I think in the case of Yamamoto, he's, this isn't a nuanced, like diamond in the rough. This is I think everyone sees him as a pretty special frontline type starter.
Where things stand with Yamamoto? How?
I don't know, man. It's been fun to get to meet him a couple times and be around him and have conversations and interact. So now we'll see how it goes. Now, I know all the teams are now putting their best foot forwards and negotiating, and that's above my pay grade. So we'll see where it lands.
What does you take away from the meeting?
Special dude. Really some presence to him. Comfortable in his skin, confident, but a humility to him. So it's been nice to get to know him and trying to bit less formal environments, where you can just kind of let your hands drop and just have real conversations, and it's been fun to do that.
Coming in tomorrow with Ohtani and everything, Yamamoto, what do you think that's going to be like in terms of the competition, the atmosphere? Is that something you're looking forward to?
I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. When we've gone twice since I've been here out to LA in the summer, and it's been really cool going to Dodger Stadium, seeing that matchup and the buzz around it. I would imagine it's going to be every bit of that and maybe more. You know, both teams obviously really, really good. A lot of star players. We're into the summer now, sort of. So I would imagine weekend series. I would expect it to be a pretty special environment.
With Yamamoto pitching tomorrow, what impressed you the most about him when you visited him out in California? And was there ever a point throughout his free agency that you thought you guys were going to get him?
There was never a point where I thought we were going to get him. There was never a point where I didn't think we weren't. Like, I felt like we were very much in the mix, and we had really good dialogue. Really liked him, liked his, you know, he seemed very comfortable in his skin, you know, very easygoing, easy way about him, engaging. I think enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed spending time with us as we did with him. And, you know, even, you know, and then when he came back out and met us here in New York that second time, you know, I remember feeling, I didn't feel like, yes, he's signing with us, or no, he's not signing with us. It was a little bit of an unknown, but I felt like we were very much in the mix.
Aaron, you guys facing Yamamoto for the first time tonight. You know, the whole offseason you guys was trying to sign him, but is it, I don't know, more exciting or kind of like special to face him for the first time? Or is it kind of like just one of those, you know, opponent like the starting pitcher?
Look, I think this is one of those series in a regular season that is going to, you know, have that extra juice. You know, you get these game series every now and then during the regular season, whether it's a great interleague series, Yankees, Dodgers, you know, at different times, a big series with Boston, or when we went, you know, to London or Field of Dreams. Like, there's little moments, games in a season that have a little extra to it. There's a lot more eyeballs here. Friday night, summer's upon us. You know, Yankee Stadium's going to be rocking. Like, it's going to feel bigger. You know, add Yamamoto to that, obviously a coveted, you know, free agent this winter. So these are two, you know, great teams going at it, and should be a lot of fun.
Tough to come by on both sides, a pitcher's duel in this one. What was Yamamoto doing that made him so effective?
More velo than we've seen all year. I mean, we haven't seen him obviously in person, but I thought he was looked like he was throwing really hard, probably a couple miles an hour up from what he's been, and he commanded it. You know, he was really tough on us tonight, and you know, had a big role in them winning a ball game.
Because both sides continually were putting up zeros, was there an added intensity every at bat and every pitch in this one, especially late?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great ball game. You know, I mean, you know, you love when you're scoring and doing that, of course. But it's one of those, man. There was just a lot of good pitching, good plays, tough at bats. Both sides had a couple opportunities to break through, couldn't. But just a very well pitched game, both sides.
Aaron, what was your impression on Yamamoto when you guys faced him in June, and what do you think the challenges will be for today?
I think he had one of his best starts of the year, stuff-wise especially. You know, we noticed, you know, it was, I forget now, but at the time it was like the first outing to that point that he had thrown more than one pitch over a certain miles an hour, and he threw like 20 of them. You know, so the stuff was electric that night. I think he ended up getting hurt right after that. And I know it's been, you know, he's had some dynamic ones here lately. He's had some ones where it hasn't been as good. So we'll be ready for, you know, I would expect it to be good. I'm sure he'll have a lot of adrenaline going, and, you know, we got to take advantage when he's in the heart of the strike zone.
With the exception of the Soto home run, Yamamoto kept the offense completely quiet, retiring 11 straight to close it out there. What made him so effective?
I thought the first few innings we took a lot of good at-bats against him, made him work, some longer at-bats.
And then kind of once he got a little bit of that lead, he kind of got into a rhythm and really did a good job of attacking us strike one. So it was hard to be patient with him when he was on the attack and getting ahead. I thought his stuff was good. I thought his fastball was good, slowing us down with the little curveball, and then the slider and the split, of course. So I thought he was on his game.
Aaron, Yamamoto really shut down the offense. What allowed him to be so effective and efficient?
Ahead, command, was mixing four seam, sinker, cutter, and then, the splitter was really good. Kind of introduced the cutter kind of second time through, but just commanded and, had a lead, so we were behind. So, when you're strike throwing as well as he is with the stuff that he has, makes it tough. So obviously a tough morning for us.
You mentioned the command and the strikes. He was pounding the strike zone all afternoon long. What did you think of the team's approach against him?
Yeah, obviously we got to be able to do more. We've been saying that a lot here the last few weeks. We got it going on the road a little bit. Credit to him. He was outstanding and on his game today. But we got to do a better job, even those times when it's a struggle and it's challenging when a guy is commanding it and strike throwing like he is, because it's hard to just get deep in counts with him. We got to do a better job of just having those heavy at bats as a group, and that's where we've struggled here these last few weeks.
Joel.
Aaron, by heavy at-bats, do you mean controlling the strike zone, getting into positive counts, drawing some walks? Because it really feels like a lot of that has been missing for a while. And if I'm right about that, why do you think it's been missing?
Well, today's a little bit of an outlier with Yamamoto, who's, ain't going to walk you and, has the stuff to challenge you in the strike zone. So, but yeah, it comes in a lot of different ways. Some days you're getting shut down, but it's a grind for that pitcher. You get them out, and you eventually get to some favorable matches, or you net yourself some mistakes. And we haven't done a good enough job of that, and that's where we've got to be better. Because even when you're rolling offensively, there's going to be days where you kind of get shut down a little bit. But we want that feeling of, man, that was a grind that opposing pitcher goes through. And for the last few weeks, we haven't done that enough.
3度の対戦を経て、ブーン監督の評価は移籍前の予想を裏切らないものになっていたんですね。続いては2025年のポストシーズンで山本投手と激突したブルワーズのパット・マーフィー監督の証言です。パット・マーフィー監督は2024年、2025年と2年連続でナ・リーグ最優秀監督賞を受賞した名将。2025年はチーム史上最多の97勝でナ・リーグ中地区3連覇を達成し、NLCS にまで駒を進めていました。ブルワーズはレギュラーシーズン序盤の対戦で山本投手を早々に KO した経験がありましたが、この試合では全く歯が立ちませんでした。では NLCS 対戦前の会見からご覧ください。
Yamamoto earlier in the season knocked him out in the first inning. Is there anything you can take from that game in preparation for this one?
It's hard. It's hard. He was getting his feet wet, and that happens to every pitcher. But he's going to make the adjustment, He's been really, really good. He's been one of the best 5 pitchers in baseball, and you look at his numbers are just incredible. We've studied him, and there's days he's, like Snell was last night, lights out. But you have to combat it. And this is how you can't beat number ones like that if you don't have a strategy going in that kind of, even if he's really good, here's some ways we can knock him off course and maybe get him out of the game sooner.
Just the way Snell and then Yamamoto have been able to be in complete control and kind of dictate the at-bats through the duration of the game. What have you seen specifically tonight?
They were both great. Both those pitchers were as dominant as 2 pitchers have been. We chased way more than we've chased all year. We've been the best in baseball at not chasing. These pitchers brought out the worst in us.
Jared, given the way
postseason baseball has been played in recent years. How surprising was it to you to see two starters pitching in the 8th and 9th inning of playoff games 2 days in a row, and what does that sort of mean for the rest of the series?
Well, that's a good question. When they're that good, it is surprising, but they're that good, and they were dominant. Both guys were dominant for 17 innings. So hats off to those two guys. They deserve all the credit. They really do. They deserve all the credit. And that catcher, Smith, deserves a ton of credit because he was right with them, in tune in the game, and they're very impressive. For those 17 innings were as good as I've seen. So the one thing is you guys might have us counted out, and I understand that. 90% of the teams that have been in this situation don't win the series. But this team has been counted out a lot this year, and I think there's some fight left in them, and it'll be a little tougher path, right, doing it on the road, but we swept the Dodgers early in the year on the road, so at least there's some capability. I know the Dodgers weren't the same team then, but, 10 times this year we've won 4 in a row, so that's also a possibility. I still like our team. I know that, we didn't swing the bat the last 2 days, but I don't think a lot of teams would have crushed those two guys the last 2 days, but, yeah, we could do better.
Snell obviously went heavy on the changeups yesterday, and then Yamamoto, he's got a deep mix, but a lot of the off speed kind of hiding the fastball to a degree. Do you feel like that's a concerted effort from them to counter the aggressiveness that you guys typically have on fastballs in the zone?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is the quality of the off speed. This guy's split looks like a heater. Comes out of the same tunnel, it looks exactly the same. He's got an impeccable delivery, so he doesn't miss a lot. And the ball shows up as a heater, bang, goes down. And his heater shows up as a heater and then rises. So it's pretty impressive. But you have to battle, foul off pitches, run his pitch count, do whatever they have to do. And it's been put in our face now for 2 days. 2 great performances, but that doesn't mean the series is over.
Murph, we'll take one more on the left.
Yeah, sure.
Murph, when Jackson takes out the first pitch, you got to think that there's something good that building's live. How quickly did it feel like that came back down, though? And was that a part of it that Yamamoto just kind of got right back to business and took it out of it?
It's funny? I'd like to do a study. I have no idea what the answer is. But in my experience, when you lead off with a home run in the game, it doesn't ensure anything. You know what I mean? I bet you the record isn't as good. I mean, the Cubs did it to us how many times? Twice? And lost both those games? Or did they win one of them? I bet you I'd be willing to say that it can be kind of a curse. You know what I mean? Not that anybody wouldn't take it, but I think, the building was live. The crowd was great. The last 2 days, our crowd's great. They're disappointed, They think it's over probably, 90% of the teams that are 0-2 at home don't come back, but I don't think it's over. I don't know why. I admire this team. I've said it all along. I like who they are. I know where they came from, and I don't think they'll be surprised if they come back and play really well. Yeah, I thought Sproat was really good, guys. I really did, but he wasn't as efficient. Yamamoto was efficient. You know what I mean? He kept attacking. We couldn't string hits together. He was very, very good. That's why he was MVP of the deal, and that's why he continues to be one of the top pitchers in the game. We had some chances early, but he really limited he didn't give up free bases. We gave up 6 walks, a hit by pitch, a wild pitch. That's too much. Yeah, the Dodgers were solid. They played solid. They sat back, played solid. They got timely hits. You neutralize one of their stars, and another guy beats you. Tucker hits a shot right down the line over the bag, and that ends up being devastating. If that ball's right to the first baseman, we turn 2, it looks like a different ballgame. So.
2年連続最優秀監督賞に輝いた名将をもってしても、これほどまでに苦しめられていたんですね。続いては2025年のワールドシリーズで死闘を演じたブ ブルージェイズのジョン・シュナイダー監督の証言です。ワールドシリーズ第2戦、山本投手の完投を許した直後の会見からご覧ください。
Did such a good job yesterday of making Snell work. Was that ingredient kind of missing for you guys today, or was Yamamoto just that good?
Yeah, he was that good. I kind of started that way. Got his 4 pitches in the first, I think, and that was probably our best chance. First and third, and nobody out. After that, it was kind of few and far between. Second complete game in a row in the postseason. That's pretty impressive with a layoff in between. So. I think he made it hard for us to make him work. He was in the zone. Split was in and out of the zone. It was a really good performance by him.
Kind of shy in the back, John.
John, with that delivery and the way his body's going in two different directions at the same time, what are you telling your hitters in terms of kind of where to look, how to try to identify where it's coming from, and then I try to identify a pitch to attack?
Yeah, it's funky delivery for sure. We. Like everyone, you do a lot of work to get ready for it, and different wind up than out of the stretch for sure. They were ready. I think that you just give him credit. He tunneled everything really well, held his velo, spotted his heater really well. I don't think it was for a lack of prep or it's deception. There's definitely some deception in the delivery too, but he was on his game.
Good, Jeff, the second row.
This could very well be a back-and-forth series, so good chance you may see Yamamoto again in Game 6. What do the players learn from today? And even with the 17 kind of swing and misses, there's got to be something they can take out of today.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen him this year, so you get some feedback and hopefully make some adjustments. But really, I think right now you're worried about Glasnow, Game 3, but I think we do a really good job of making adjustments as we see guys. Again, man, that was a great performance by him.
In the era that you're used to as a manager and coach, did you ever think you'd see performances like this of complete games from another era?
Man, it's hard to do. You know what I mean? I get why Doc let him go. He was that good, and I think that the baseball fan, right? They appreciate that. You know what I mean? You have to appreciate a complete game. So you never know. You never know when someone's going to have it. Every game is different, right? So you never really discount anything, you know what I mean? And who knows what's going to happen on Game 3, you know what I mean? It's baseball, and you got to kind of react in real time.
Totally. And one other question for you about Kevin Gausman starting tomorrow. Obviously, we saw how well traded yesterday. We know Gausman's, of course, a great pitcher. What are you thinking about putting him on Game 6 tomorrow going up against Yamamoto?
It should be a fun rematch. I think Kev's outing kind of got overlooked because Yamamoto was so good in Game 2. Kev kind of matched him pitch for pitch there until the 7th. It'll be, you kind of think of it as like an old school pitcher's duel about to happen, but you never know how it's going to unfold. But we've got all the confidence in the world in Kev. He's kind of been our guy, for the last couple of years.
That was going to be my next question is Yamamoto. How do you get to him coming off back-to-back complete games?
Man, hopefully he's a little tired, throwing that many innings. He's unique because he's got what seems like 6 or 7 pitches and can kind of morph into different pitchers as the game kind of goes on, You got to be stubborn. You have to be ready to hit, and you have to be stubborn with what kind of swings you're taking. That's what it comes down to. He's not a guy you can kind of wait out. He's going to pound the zone. Sometimes you got to force some action on him. You know what I mean? If he's going really well. So I think having seen him will help us. We hadn't seen him in the regular season, so get some feedback from the guys and formulate a plan with Pop and Lou and Hunter and get after it.
We'll do 2 more in the back right corner.
Hey, John. Still on Yamamoto. Was there a lot to learn from just that one start? Are there a lot of takeaways from that you can take into tomorrow?
I think it's always easier when you actually see a guy and kind of feel what his stuff is playing like, and kind of what it does in comparison to other guys you faced. The delivery is a little unique, obviously, and there's some deception there, but that's about it. It just comes down to putting together a good plan and saying, kind of seeing how he's going to attack. Is it going to be the same way, which he had a lot of success with, or is he going to deviate a little bit, and can we be ready to kind of pivot with him?
You're right, John.
John, just what's your message to the group and to the fan base heading into tomorrow night?
See you tomorrow. It's going to be electric here. I mean, these guys, it's business as usual, although it's, it's coming down to one game. You know what I mean? These guys are really good at kind of just turning the page. That'll take a while to kind of unpack. That's a wild ending. I love the way we played. Yamamoto was really good again. Had our chances with guys on base kind of as the game went on. They're going to be ready to play tomorrow. Everyone's going to be ready to play. I expect them to be playing cards around 1 p.m. tomorrow and kind of shooting the shit with everyone. It's going to be fun here. But to the fans, I say, see you tomorrow night. Be loud, be rowdy, and we're going to be ready to play.
And what was your read of how you guys handled Yamamoto this time versus the other time? There were, as you mentioned, a few more chances. But
I thought
the big hit.
Yeah, it was eerily similar to Game 2. Between him and Gauze. I don't want to overlook what Kev did too. You know what I mean? I mean, coming out of the chute the way he did, and just the one inning again. You know what I mean? And they had a couple big swings. But I thought our bats were better. I thought we made him work. I did think getting him out after the 6th was going to benefit us, and we were damn close to getting it done. But I thought the at-bats were better. We had some chances. I really think, too, like even in the first inning, kind of a hang and breaking ball to Vlad, double plays helped him a couple times. But I thought our at-bats were better. He's a damn good pitcher.
The day before, in this room, you said everyone's available. Jack Harris follows up with a question. Even Yamamoto? And you said, no. When did that change?
That was for sure right before. That's gamesmanship because I didn't want them to know that he was available. Did I know he was 100% available? No. But I'm not going to say he's available to then have Yamamoto on their radar at all.
Was he on your radar?
Hell yeah. But I was still surprised. I was still surprised because the momentum is a real thing. What he had done to us, in Game 2 and Game 6, you're like, damn, that is a tough freaking matchup right now. So I was just more surprised that he was physically able to do it. But I mean, we even like Gauze was about to get his spikes on. He threw the night before. It was kind of the same way. Now, could he have given us 40 pitches? Like what Yamamoto did is historic. It is.
Yeah.
A legendary performance on the biggest stage of this game. Yep. It is that will good.
And not to mention in Game 3, he got loose and he was hot.
Yeah, like who is this guy?
That's after pitching Game 2, so he gets hot. He was hot in the pen.
CG in 2, dry humped in 3.
Yep. 96 pitches in 6.
Yeah, 6 innings, 96 pitches in 6. And we'll get to 7.
I like the way you said dry hump because we can't say that. You can say that.
Got him hot, didn't get him in. Yeah. I will say this: because I think Yamamoto came out in the 6th inning of Game 6. I believe it was the 6th, and I turned to Mark Budzinski, who was in after that half inning. I said, I think that might have just won us a series, just because at that point I didn't think he'd pitch Game 7, and then afterwards I was like, okay. He's probably going to fucking pitch.
I believe it was bottom 8 when Yamamoto starts warming up.
Okay. I guess.
I think. I tried to look back at the broadcast. I tried to look back on Twitter. I couldn't find that exact moment. Do you remember, though, making that phone call?
I do. I told Mark, because we knew that he was going to pitch. And for me, you're just trying to figure out when to deploy him because you don't know what you got as far as how many bullets he has. So I think that at that point in time, we exhausted, 4 or 5 pitchers or whatever. And it was like, all right, this is the time. And I think I brought him into an inning, right? Did I bring him into an inning?
You did. Well, let's...
You brought him in the 9th.
Yeah, he came in
Okay,
in the
so
9th.
I started warming him up in the 8th.
Yeah.
Who was pitching in the 8th inning?
Snell.
Okay, so Snell was pitching.
Yes.
And
Vladdy 3-0.
Yep.
Fly out. Bo single.
And it started getting a little fuzzy for him. And then again, we're trying to keep this game where it is, and we can't afford to give any more runs because I think Glass gave up an extra run. Yamamoto was just not going to give in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, the great pitchers are just not going to give in. They play poker.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that Yamamoto came into the game by this point, by the way.
He was the one pitching again.
I totally skipped over that.
He pitched the whole series. Don't you remember?
I was going to say, you could point at any inning in the series, and Yamamoto probably was in there. When he came in and you saw the stuff was every bit as good as it was the previous time during the series, are you just asking yourself how? Because we do not see this. We do not see anything like this, particularly in the modern game. And for him to do it in Game 7 of the World Series, no less, it made it that much more special, I think.
Yeah, as soon as we saw him getting up, we were expecting it to be normal stuff. We weren't expecting 91 with a little get me over curveball.
I know, but the thing is that in the 8th inning, or the 9th inning, he hit Kirk. His first hitter, he hits Kirk with the split.
Yeah.
And then that loads the bases, and I'm just like, oh no, right?
That was how it happened. So right there in my mind, I was like, okay, the clock has struck midnight maybe on this guy. Mm-hmm. And he just didn't give in.
That's right.
敵将だからこそわかる、その恐ろしさが伝わってくる証言でしたね。最後は山本投手を最も近くで見続けてきたドジャースのデーブ・ロバーツ監督の証言です。まだ山本投手の去就が決まっていない時期のインタビューからご覧ください。
What about his relationship with Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Do they have an existing relationship, and are you using him as a recruiter?
Absolutely, we're doing that. We'd be crazy not to. I think that with that Team Japan, which as we all saw, Dan, that was pretty special. I mean, obviously, they beat the U.S. and seeing Shohei versus Trout, that moment right there in sports was something I'll always remember, as will many people. But they were teammates, and so I just do know that Yoshinobu, is excited, being recruited. We hosted him, and I thought we did a really good job and had players there to kind of see what life would look like, what of normalcy, being around our guys and having lunch and kind of having one-off conversations with his potential teammates, as well as showing Dodger Stadium, things like that. So, yeah, they do have a good relationship. So hopefully everything lines up, and it would be quite the offseason.
Well, Dave, it was an exciting weekend here at CBR. Just with what you've been seeing from Yoshinobu Yamamoto, seeing his live BP, the excitement from the guys, just what was kind of your takeaway from just seeing him take the mound here?
I think just the poise, the composure obviously there's a lot of expectations, and for him to kind of control the emotion still, execute pitches, and obviously there are rave reviews from the hitters.
Dave, on Yamamoto, generally talk about what he did tonight, but also you get to the middle innings, data generally says take him out, facing the third time.
So you're a data guy, huh?
I'm an analytics guy. But also, he hasn't gone that deep since really when he faced the Yankees back in June. So what went into your decision-making?
Yeah. I think for me, watching how he was throwing the baseball, there wasn't much stress in the game. And, he hasn't been in the 7th inning since that Yankee game. I think he's thrown up to 76 pitches. So I felt we had a good building block foundation. And so I really wanted him to get Stanton. So number one, to get one more hitter and to be able to touch that 7th inning. So I think for me, that was it regardless.
Comparison will be to the Yankee Stadium start, but how similar was he tonight to where that was? And it seemed like the fastball, especially after that Soto at bat, seemed like he seemed to lock in the command.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, you're looking at our two starters, I think that they made one bad pitch apiece in their respective starts. And this one tonight was a fastball away, supposed to be. He yanked it, and Soto didn't miss it. But I would say that this start for me was probably a little bit better in the sense of we didn't have to navigate Soto back at Yankee Stadium either. So, but obviously on this stage, he was fantastic tonight.
Yoshinobu was obviously excellent tonight. Does it make this loss even more frustrating or more challenging to accept, considering how well he pitched and just how quickly it ended?
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic tonight, beyond. So to lose this game when there's a lot of good things that we did, certainly like we did. Yeah, it makes it tougher. It's certainly a wasted opportunity or performance from what Yoshinobu did.
Have you ever gone from so high to so low in a game like that, especially one that's not like a postseason elimination or anything, just the way that inning played out?
It's hard to recount a game like this, where there's so many things and you feel like you can get a little bit of momentum, build off a great outing by Yoshinobu, and take that into tomorrow. And then obviously it completely flipped, and yeah, the guys fought hard. So with the way we played, I got no complaints. It was just we just couldn't get that last out.
Pitch count was quite high after the 8th, and what was the decision-making process for you to send him to the 9th?
I just felt that I felt he deserved a chance to get a no-hitter. I felt that the guys we're feeling it for him, we're pulling for him, and I wanted it bad for him. I did. And once he gave up that homer, and that was still a pretty good pitch, then you've given up the shutout, the no-hitter, and then for me, I felt that we pushed him far enough, and so we've got to be able to get one out, and that's just we just got to be able to get one out.
What did you say to Yoshi on the mound? I guess you guys had
I just told him he did a fantastic job and tip his cap to the fans because they were cheering for him in that 9th inning.
Remind me of Pedro Martinez. Are they similar build, similar size?
Very similar build, very similar size. Obviously Pedro, sort of a similar mix. If you say the split is Pedro's changeup, and just same mindset. Pedro on game days, I've never seen. He's an assassin, and Yamamoto is an assassin. What he did is stuff like Pedro-esque, Sandy Koufax-esque. Obviously, what Mad Bum did, I don't know if it was 2012 or 2014, one of those Giants years. But yeah, this is a guy that, not physical, but his mind, Dan, is just pretty spectacular.
But if you would have said, hey, beginning of the series, a Japanese-born player is going to win MVP.
Shohei all day.
Yeah.
All day.
But what did you learn about him in this World Series or in the playoffs that maybe you didn't know?
No. Yeah, okay, yeah, not the World Series, the playoffs. So I knew that he's a killer. I knew it. This guy, and he showed that, this year having just a tremendous year, being a stopper for us, pitching huge in big games, going complete game, doing what he did in Milwaukee was incredible. Complete game, one run. I think the first, gives up a solo homer, a leadoff homer, then goes 9 innings shut after that. Then the next game, complete game. And then in game 3, 18 innings, I think he was like 13th inning. He's like, I'm ready to go down there. I'm not going to let a position player pitch in the game, in a World Series game. And this is after 1 day off. And so that showed me a lot. Freddie walks it off. And then so game 7 obviously was no surprise, but to go 3 innings was incredible.
Yoshinobu on the mound, obviously a tough loss yesterday, but just how is he always the right guy to be the stopper?
He's just got that pedigree as an ace. He's gonna attack. He's won big games for us. He's been a stopper for us. Bullpen's in a good spot, but I still feel that having him pitch to take down 6, 7, 8 innings is going to be helpful going forward. But it's just hard to go wrong with Yoshinobu.
Especially when you have a game like today, a doubleheader. How big was it what he was able to do for this team?
Yeah, it was huge. When you're talking about 6 in a row, doubleheader. So to not have to go to our bullpen in game 1, you get an extra arm and Kyle hurt. So on the run prevention side, the arms, we feel good, but Yoshi was really good. I think you see Schlitter that first inning and you see velocity, the stuff, strikes out the side, and for Yoshi to come back and do what he did and to perform what he did, that's why he's our ace.
When you looked at just exactly how he navigated through this lineup, what would you say kind of was the key to getting that soft contact and obviously limiting his pitch count?
Command. He had really good command today. The fastball command, the cutter in on the lefties, the low dart, the split was really good today. And you could just see, he made the one mistake to Grisham where he tried to go backdoor and kind of yanked it a little bit. But outside of that, he was really good.
At what point did you start thinking he might go the distance?
His pitch count was so good the entire game. And, once I felt, we got to that seventh inning and we tacked on some runs, I felt, he could get us through the seventh and then get a good seventh, and it just felt like he could finish this game. And so, again, thinking about where his pitch count was at, the stress, where that was at, and also knowing that we've got another game, in a few hours.
Those days as official, we kind of go back to the playoffs last year. What does he do differently to be able to work as quickly as he does?
I think he gets strike one. And I don't know the percentage today, but it just seemed like he was dictating counts all day long versus trying to be too fine, getting behind.
So
Position did the distance. Do you see anything different from him that kind of shows you that he wants that?
Well, he certainly wants it, and I think today he just, coming off that last one, left a bad taste in his mouth. I've referenced this outing, the outing a couple years ago here at Yankee Stadium, which was a really good one, and he's pitched well. He's pitched well here, and he likes these big games.
When you look at the injuries that you have had and just how many games he's gone, 7, 8 plus, what kind of impact has that had on your staff?
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that in one game it's great, but I think that the exponential effect that it has on everybody else is huge, and it's hard to really nail down how valuable that is. But right now we have all arms available, which will help us again tomorrow. And so you have a guy that not only puts you in a position to win a game, but also saves a lot of arms. That's what goes hand in hand with the top end rotation.
さて、いかがでしたか？今回の動画では山本由伸投手と幾度も対峙してきた4人の指揮官たち、ヤンキースのブーン監督、ブルワーズのマーフィー監督、ブルージェイズのシュナイダー監督、そして自軍を率いるロバーツ監督の証言をご紹介してきました。移籍前の交渉段階から掘り出し物ではなく、誰もが認める特別なエース級と評価されていた山本投手は、その言葉通りの活躍を見せ続けてきました。特に2025年ワールドシリーズ第7戦、中0日での救援登板という前代未聞の継投は、敵将であるシュナイダー監督をして、この競技の最大の舞台での伝説的な投球だと言わしめるほどのものでした。また、移籍前から山本投手を間近で見てきたロバーツ監督が、ペドロ・マルティネス投手を引き合いに出しながらその勝負師としての一面を語っていたのも印象的でしたね。皆さんはどの指揮官の証言が一番印象に残りましたか？ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。